it's a norm in Nigeria when people are facing one accusation or trial or the other that they have to be flown abroad for medical treatment. Is it becoming a norm in the country at the moment?
I doubt if that is the case with him. I just mentioned the casualties and what he went through. And of course, he's aged. He's aged. All right. And the ideal situation is for the country to support the citizens in terms of health facilities and services, whether you are incarcerated or whether you are free. But my country has not been able to achieve that. We have a serious crisis. In fact, the Aso Villa clinic that should take care of the president is incapacitated. But that is on one side. And now, the members have started protesting, having confrontations with the military. The most recent being in the last few weeks, and I saw one on TV and I was amazed how it went out of hand. In fact, there was a young man who was hitting the windscreen of a car, fell under the car, and the world is watching. And this group, they have confessed that we are ready to die. And following the recent protest in Abuja, the matter went back to court. And perhaps many expected then that he will be released on bail. And the same demand was presented before the court, that this man needs medical attention, which the nation cannot provide. Let him be taken abroad for medical attention. And those on the other side of government are saying they need to go and study the documents presented. And the matter was adjourned. And we are dealing with volatile members. Whether we have any good reason to hold them back or not, we must look at the consequences. That's what we call consequences management in governance. Now, the latest protest led to the killing of a top police officer. And so what next? When you know also that we have the president of the Boko Haram.
Just a moment. This is a group that started protesting, saying it's a peaceful protest. At what point did you get to the level where machetes, stones, and also guns were used in protesting?
You see, no one can determine the coloration of protest. It usually starts in a peaceful manner. But when the reciprocity does not match the agitation, it can graduate into violence. And the responsibility of the government is to regulate relationships, conflict management, and ensure that we have peace and unity, peace and unity and faith, peace and progress in the land. And sometimes some criminal elements go in. In fact, the federal government has accepted the fact that some criminal elements have politicized, whether it's Boko Haram or banditry. These things are there, particularly in a volatile environment like ours, where we have a high level of unemployment rate that stands at about 25% right now, and the underemployment about 16%, where we have social distrust, different kinds of things. So we even have a higher responsibility to prevent crisis.
You said that what the president said earlier, that the national security supersedes that of the rule of law. But in all of this development, we saw what transpired between the IPOB, where Nnamdi Kanu was released on bail. So, where is he?
The government followed up. Where's Nnamdi Kanu now?
Where is he at the moment?
Those are questions we're asking. The government has the machinery to follow up. But we have argued that the very foundation of security is respect for the rule of law. The rule of law means that institutions, regulators of the institutions, and people in a community will be subject to the operations of the law. If the court refused to grant El Zazaki bail, it's a different ballgame. But he was granted bail. Let's go to the global arena. The United States of America, it is nothing hidden that the immigration policy of Donald Trump projects the American interest as paramount. But the systemic institutions, respect for the rule of law, has made it not so easy for the man. So you see the institution trying to manage the position of this president. And that is why that country is making progress.
But why can't the Shiites wait? If you're saying that the rule of law must be supreme in all of this development, why can't they wait for that judgment coming up either on the 29th of this month in Kaduna?
Is this their first time of protesting? If we have protest, we also have provocation.